Okay, welcome to Knitting Around LA. I'm Julie.
And I'm Judy. And today we have an incredible, fabulous, fascinating guest. We have London Kaye.
Hey.
Welcome, London.
Hi.
Yay. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're imagining that you are super busy since launching your phenomenal Kamala Harris, I'm Speaking, massive yarn mural on International Women's Day last week.
Oh yeah, it was a whirlwind for sure. And I announced the project January 20th, and it was kind of just like full steam ahead.
Wow.
It was quick.
So It was very quick. And yeah, I'm a bit exhausted. I think it's all catching up to me this week now that
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do know about that. You know, Yarn Bombing LA has been through a few things, but how much lead time for from when you conceived it to when you sent out the announcements to get the crocheters?
It was around like January 1st, I would say, that kind of the ideas started happening. And then January 20th was when it was ready to go. And the things that took place before that were figuring out the design, sketching it, breaking down the pattern, figuring out, how many pieces I had, how many people I needed, and kind of what to do next. But the project was started by Oleg. She's a fiber artist in Poland. I don't know if you guys have heard of her. Oh, she
absolutely.
did this, the big Wall Street bull.
Oh,
and yeah, so at Christmas time, she actually emailed me asking if I wanted to take over the project she started called Love Across the USA, that had celebrated a couple other amazing women from American history. And so yeah, I spoke with her, kind of figured out the best plan of action, and then took it all over, and it made it happen. I still can't believe it.
It's insane. It's exquisite.
Yes. Can we, London, let's put up a picture of the full mural right now, just in case somebody watching hasn't seen it.
Absolutely. And I'm going to do my best with sharing screen here. I think I prepped it to the one that's of the main mural, but you may get glimpses of some other things too. But
here it is. Yes, it is. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So what makes it even more stellar, I think, is all the colors that came together. Everyone was at home. This was a project that really was meant to bring people together during COVID. And everyone used yarn they had in their stash, or that was the suggestion at the beginning. So when people shared that they were interested in the project, I gave them a color palette, and they sent me photos of what yarn they had at home. And then I tried my best to pair them up with a pattern piece that worked with the colors they had. And that's kind of where the patchwork of colors comes from. But it truly, you can see it all getting stitched together that way. And it's quite beautiful.
Yeah, I know I saw on somewhere on the social media, just at the end, somebody said, "Oh no, my blue square is so much lighter than all the others." And it was like, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly. It worked out. I was definitely nervous about that piece, I would say. But it ended up working out great. And I have here's kind of like, you can see in the top left, all the different squares that people had. I had them shipped to a family friend's house in Virginia, because I am here in Los Angeles. So everybody shipped their square there. And I arrived on February 23rd to start collecting the packages and start piecing them together. But it was super cool. Like during the installation, people came out that helped work on the mural. So we had people fly in from LA, from Colorado, train down from Philly, New York. I'm missing places, but it was so cool. Just getting to know, I feel like I truly know each and every person now that's worked on the mural, and managing a team of 150 was a lot, but everyone's joyfulness and excitement made it so effortless almost, which is cool to say.
How many people worked on sewing it together?
So I got an Airbnb in Maryland, a large one, because of COVID. Also, I have to think about things a bit differently, and that there were 2 of us mainly that were staying at the Airbnb with me for about 3 or 4 days. And then one of those days, about 7 of the participants came in and we worked in the backyard of the space. And that was really nice. But other than that, it was definitely me, sleepless nights, crocheting and piecing things together. But I love it more than anything. So happy to put in the time.
And what are the dimensions of it hanging up there? I know it's large, but I'd like to hear the actual number of feet.
It's 40 feet wide by 20 feet tall. And before doing this, like, I love running just to break up my day and stuff. So every time I would go on jogs from, January till March, all the big buildings around me, I'd stop and stare at and try to picture what 40 feet by 20 feet is. And outside of my bed or my window here, I took a ruler outside one day to physically mark out 40 feet wide on the building I look at every day, just to try to start getting how big it's going to be, because it's a big piece of crochet. But believe it or not, there's a lot of us holding it here, but it was about 150 pounds in total, maybe less. So luckily it's not crazy heavy. It's a big blanket, but
spectacular.
Thank you.
How big, London? What were the size of the component parts?
So each participant was asked to crochet a 2 foot by 2 foot square. And do I have the pic here? I'll just try to zoom in. You can see this is me here with my little square. So each square is 2 feet by 2 feet in size. And the big thing about this is everybody had to get their stitches pretty uniform,
Yes.
Very specifically had to be 24 inches. And now if I would do it again, too big, not good. You definitely want to go on the side of being smaller. So there were really descriptive instructions for each participant. They had to get their swatch done. And that, is how they set their gauge for the size hook. But overall, it was about a 4 millimeter crochet hook. And it was a double crochet stitch that everyone did.
And so I'm sorry. Go, Judy.
Did you have them send their swatch back to you?
I did not. I definitely trusted people. Also, when I announced the project, I set up a Google Voice number so people could text me questions and photos at any time. I also offered one-on-one Zoom workshops to make sure everyone was on the same page. So I did a whole lot to make sure everyone was happy, crocheting with ease, not stressing out. And the other thing that was really cool is, you can see from the squares, obviously Kamala's face and the texts are a bit more complicated, but there is also solid squares and just squares that are half different colors. So it really was great to be able to include beginner, intermediate, and advanced crocheters in this. I didn't have to be you have to be the best crocheter in the world. It was nice to open it up to everyone.
Right. But you did give them a target gauge that they should be able to meet, so that for stitches per inch, etc.
Exactly. Very, very in detail. And Oleg is really wonderful. She had done up some videos to show the stitches for people, show how to change color. So utilizing her resources and just communicating as much as possible. Everyone did amazing job. Out of all these squares, only one person ghosted and floated away, out of everyone, I'd say that's pretty incredible.
That is. Yeah. And I am aware that Oleg has done large projects where she has had people helping, that kind of bright camo pattern that she used for the bowl. She has used it, and she has had to, give that pattern out to people and have them replicate it. So that's good. That's great.
Yeah, I had never done anything like that. I'd always, when I would have people help me with projects, it would always be very simple. I need 50 5 foot by 5 foot navy blue squares. So it was always I I didn't need to worry about the pattern or the size really. It was like, you just crochet it and I'll figure it out from there. So this was really much more exciting, and I hope to do more, of course.
Did you print out paper cartoons for people to like follow for the parts that had the design in them?
Each pattern is a chart. So it was a charted, you got an 8.5 by 11 photo, and it was by color, and you followed your chart as you went row by row.
Oh, that is amazing.
Mm-hmm. I can try to find that too if you'd like to see.
Well, this is really mind-boggling for me. And by the way, we want to say hi to Children of the Rice. She's made some comments and says that she just is, you're one of her favorite yarn bombers of all times, London. So yes. Oh, and we have CPC Chester says hi. Question that I was going to ask, or when we did, because I was part, and Julie and I were part of the Yarn Bombing Los Angeles covering the Craft and Folk Art Museum, and our call was very general in terms of, I don't know what the size was. Let's say
5 inches.
Was it a 5-inch? It was a 5-inch square, a granny square, and we requested, let's say a teal or whatever. And to, looking back at that project, I mean, people sent us round doilies. I mean, they didn't even get it wasn't even square. And we got, forget 5 inches, we got 3 inches, we got 12 inches, we got, and then we got variegated colors. I mean, it was like all over the board. How were you able to get people to really follow your directions? Because we thought we had the simplest directions ever, and we didn't get people to follow them.
I think it had a lot to do with what the why behind what we were creating was all about. Being able to celebrate the first female vice president in such a huge and epic and extraordinary way, I think made people very, encouraged to make sure their square was right, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't be in the mural. So I think that kind of added a bit of, we need this correct. Also, people were sharing on social media, and I created a Facebook group where other people could communicate with other participants. And I think that also people seeing other people's squares as they were working and how, good some of those were kind of, made them want to be just as good and take just as much time and care on what they were creating. And then also, I just think it was the communication too, being able to communicate with people throughout the whole process. And check in with them as they go. Also, I had to have some nervous conversations when I did see people not doing it correct on social media, calling them and telling them, I suggest you redo this. That only happened a couple times, but I knew for the greater good of the mural and for them to be able to continue to participate that it had to be done. So I had to do that.
Wow.
So it's much more interactive.
To you on that, because Yeah, because we were totally hands off with the people.
It was a call.
Relied on their. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, it was a call that went out. It wasn't an interaction with, YBLA didn't have person-to-person contact. It was just the squares just arrived, except for a lot of it. There were a lot of big pieces and parts of it where it was a group of people working at either at the studio in Santa Monica or the back room of the Craft and Folk Art Museum. And that was much more directed. And, so the things that came out of that, like there was a big sign that was red and white that said CAFAM and some other things, and people put that together, but it was much more directed. So it didn't come out as random.
Yeah. Well, also, I'm sure you've learned through now all of those squares that you can kind of fix things too with crochet. It is a bit forgiving and, hopefully able to make things work. But, I see a comment on the screen.
Yeah. But Children of the Rice.
You. So kind.
a friend of ours, and here's one. Here's a comment from a few minutes ago.
Yes, it is crazy to see the scale of things when you're there right next to it, but yet you walk back just a bit and it's like, wow, that's just a little blip in the distance. It's quite crazy. So yes, having people in front of it definitely helps show the grandiosity, if that's even a word.
Well, when you think of 20 feet is 2 stories. I mean, that's a 2-story building, basically. So that is big. It is big.
Oh, it's massive. And you said that you rented an Airbnb. Now, and to assemble the pieces, that must have been like a massive sort of jigsaw puzzle. And in addition to which, when you're having to sew it together, you have to have it reversed, correct? Yeah. So you've got to lay it out upside down to sew it. I that's mind-boggling.
It was we kind of worked in columns, one column and then another column next to it, and then kind of scooched it over, and then another column kind of got laid down, and there were multiple levels that we could go on. But the best thing was the backyard, when the 7 or so of us were there, and we could really spread out and tackle a lot at once. But oh my gosh, yeah, it was very cold too when the
what about the weather? You were back east.
Yeah,
you were lucky not to have back-to-back blizzards like they have some years in February.
Oh my gosh, luckily the day when everyone came over, it was like 60 degrees and sunny, which was
wow.
Perfect. But the final day where I had to like lay it out and stretch it and roll it and do those final touches. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to complain, but it all worked, and we were done early, which is also really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna ask
unheard of large art project.
That's simply cray-cray. That's all. Just cray-cray. But the question is, for you to hang it, what was the system? What support mechanism did you use that was 40 feet long that could support the weight of that and not bend?
Yeah. What was it? So that was something I thought would be easier than the crochet part of it. So I was like, let me get all the people on board, start crocheting. I'll figure out the frame and where it's going to go after that. I don't recommend doing it in that order. No. So there was a bit of just like learning for sure. At first, it was going to be on a wood frame. That's how old I've done it on the past. But I was able to find an awesome location for the building, or for the piece. And I worked with the engineer of the building, actually. And he was inspired by the work I had done on chain link fence, which I think is awesome. So he built a frame, pretty much what goes around the border of a chain link fence, out of really strong aluminum metal, that I then used zip ties to magically stretch, and it fit onto the piece.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
So
yeah.
Truly, I loved the frame. It looked great. And yeah. It's so far so good. It rained today in Washington, D.C., but it's still looking good. So we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. It should hold up outside. How long is it going to stay up?
It's up through Memorial Day. So it's awesome because it's like any moment now the cherry blossoms are going to open in Washington, D.C. And it's
going to be gorgeous.
Yeah. And it's right on the wharf, right on the water, where you can see all the cherry blossoms. So the location is just like perfect. And it's part of the Southwest Business District is where the wharf is. And that's actually who I worked with to find the location for the piece. And the reason I loved this district and working with them is because the piece truly feels like a part of the community. People ride their bikes by, people are running by, people go there for their everyday life. And my favorite part about street art is like made of yarn is when I do put it up in a neighborhood and it stays up and the people in the community, embrace it and feel like it's their own. And that was one of the biggest reasons I really love the location, is already I'm seeing that. And it's really cool. So it'll be up for a few more months.
Here's a question again from Children of the Rice. Hi, Jen. Thanks for being here.
Yes.
Did you have to remake any of the pieces? I think you already answered that. Maybe one person ghosted, right?
Yep. So yeah, we just had one that I had to be remade. Some of the other ones just had to be like fixed or tweaked. But that day where everybody came to the Airbnb to help, one girl's kind of job was to make that missing piece. And yeah, other than that, it really, I feel very lucky. I only made one square, which is like nuts. You know?
Yeah, that's great. You had a good team, and
I did. Yeah.
Hats off to all of them. So again, what happens to the piece after Memorial Day?
Well, I have been in talks with like quite a few people for where it could potentially go. My fingers are crossed for Howard University. They seemed very excited about it.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and I just think that would be a beautiful place to just like honor Kamala and to go in her alma mater there.
Yes.
Yeah, they were thinking the communications building. So with the words I'm speaking, it's just like too perfect.
Wow.
But
yeah.
as with anything, until things are like 100% confirmed, I don't want to get my hopes up. So, when I was like sitting on it and putting it together, it's just like so cool. I was like, this needs to go to like a museum. So that would be really awesome to, maybe the Smithsonian will take it. Who knows?
Hey,
right.
That would be perfect. Someplace, yeah.
Yes. I cold called pretty much the city of Washington, D.C. to first, find a place for the mural. The Smithsonian's the only one that got back and said no. But I think now that they've seen it, they may have another idea.
Now, question is, let's say where it may go. Let's just hypothesize Howard. Would it be an interior piece then? So it would. Okay, so it's not going to live outside, because that really at some point would degrade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The yarn would decompose if it were kept outside.
They are thinking, if this goes forward, yes, the talks were about it being inside. There's also something so beautiful about yarn being outside for so long. Like, I've had up these rainbows on Melrose in Los Angeles, and I had them up for like, they're still up, but so for like 3 years. And after the 3 years, it definitely did get, started feeling sad in a way. And I went and replaced the rainbows, but still it has that like vintage sepia feel.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Jen says, the Children of the Rice says, Howard, wow, perfect. And we think so too.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be such an appropriate spot for it. I have a question. I know that the second gentleman came by. Do you have any inkling if actually Kamala came by?
Kamala's not been by yet, but she definitely knows about it, since I have spoken to the second gentleman about it. And we actually both went to the same high school, me and Doug. So hopefully plants a little seed in his head too. But one of the cool things is when I started doing, after, Kamala was the mural we were doing, I was like, let me get to know her a little better and just Google her hobbies. And an article in Vogue, her sister called her the mad crocheter when she was younger because she crocheted so many blankets. Yeah. And a few days before the mural went up, she went to a yarn shop in Washington, D.C. And her stepdaughter is just like the coolest girl ever. And she's a knitter and textile artist. So lots of connections. I hope Kamala goes and sees it. I think she will.
Now, isn't the second gentleman from, is it Agora?
Yeah.
Agora High.
He must be, because we both went to Agora High. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He said he lives in Three Springs, which is like Westlake. And yes. So he's from there.
Oh, that's so awesome. That is just unbelievable.
I know. And it was so coincidental, too, that I got to see him there. I shouldn't have been there at that time, but I can't help not be at the mural when I'm in Washington, D.C. So
yeah,
I was there.
Yeah,
that's great. That's great. So I want to put up this, let me see, website, because there's more exciting news. The kit of this design, we want to talk about that.
Yay. Okay, cool. Because I'm new to this. Kits and beautiful hand-dyed yarn and all the things. Okay, yeah. I can pull this up. Let's see here.
And remind us of the name of the shop. I don't have it on the top of my head.
There is not really a name to the shop.
What's the Instagram handle?
Oh, Love Across the USA.
Where the yarn's available from?
No. Okay, so I created with Shella, who's a fabulous yarn dyer here in Los Angeles. She lives in Inglewood.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we had met a couple times, and she was like, yes, I want to do a square of the mural. And so when we got to talking, I was like thinking how cool it would be to do some hand-dyed specialty skeins of the yarn. And here on this, they have some better photos, pardon. So we're working on it. It's still new, but so we did up some beautiful hand-dyed skeins that she did just out of her, her shop at home. And we worked with the colors inspired by the mural.
And also the inauguration coats.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. I'm glad you picked up on that.
I love color. I will never forget those colors.
Yes, exactly. So, and they were just so many cool colors that they were all wearing that day, that especially Kamala's purple, of course. Mm-hmm. And so each skein of yarn in the kit provides enough yarn to complete a mini Kamala Harris pattern here. And so it's just a little version of her face, but we're selling the yarn and the hook. The pattern comes free inside. And it's written out and a chart. And I also created a new version of my crochet hook. I don't know if you could see this. So it's a double-sided. Doesn't work. I will show you in person because I have one right here. But it's a double-sided crochet hook with a twist. And I actually have a patent for my twisted crochet hook design. But this is the first time I've ever done a small one. And I love it. I'm obviously biased with my hooks, but I just think the yarn is so beautiful too.
It is. And her name is Unique with Fiber?
Yes. And her name is Shella Negron Harrison. Here's her account right here, Unique with Fiber. And yeah, each skein totally unique. And it was just a really great process to work with her too. I learned so much about just like hand-dyed yarn in general, and it's so sweet. Her mom taught her to crochet when she was really young, and so she's always, she's mainly a crocheter, and that hand-dyed yarn, tends to be more knitters, I want to say, that invest a lot in their specialty skeins. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I love that she's more focused on the crochet side of it, and yeah, just pairing that and doing that has been a dream.
And the kit it's intended to be a mural you make out of it, or
a little tapestry. Here, I'll show you.
Okay. Oh yeah, and how big? If you get the gauge called for in the pattern, oh my God!
Yeah, it comes
how
to
big?
That's incredible.
Thank you. It's about 2 feet by 3 feet in size, and yeah. I want to hang mine back up. Just like I'm actually considering framing it and like putting it up. I think it'll be gorgeous. So yeah, it's nice. Good size.
Is the wool? Is it a wool or acrylic? No, wool it would be, right?
Yeah, it's 100% wool, so don't wash it. But I again think that's pretty cool, because what we're doing about putting art in a public space and using it in an unconventional way, it's also, a little more unique with what you're doing with this kit as well, especially just making something for your home to display. Mm-hmm. I do think it would be pretty fabulous on the back of a huge jacket.
Wow. You're not kidding.
Well, you know what I was thinking is it could be a blanket. You could, you know, add around the edges and make it like a couch blanket.
Oh my gosh, I gotta get something. It's right
okay.
Because as you know, I live here. So when I announced the project, this is an enormous version of Kamala. Oh, she's upside down.
Oh, she's upside down.
But they talk about a blanket-sized Kamala.
Oh,
my head.
That's great.
Wow.
So yes, depending on what size hook you use, the world is your oyster.
Yes.
But
oh my God.
the amount of yarn you're going to get is to make something a bit more delicate, and
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that pattern also a double crochet?
This is actually single crochet for this, and the reason I did that is because to get more detail on something so small, was necessary, or else we'd lose a lot of her face, and you wouldn't be able to, I don't know, tell it's her.
Right, it would be more pixelated.
Yeah.
On the larger piece, double crochet is fine because it's such a large piece. The pixels can be bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
We have a good question that came in about what difficulty level would you call the kit?
I would say intermediate.
Intermediate.
Yeah, because it works with quite a bit of color changing. And also you just want to pay attention to the pattern. It's, you know, you want to be specific about the number of stitches. But that's the only reason I would say that. It's all single crochet. So
right. But it's following a chart and color changing, which those aren't advanced techniques. Those are kind of the next things you learn after you're a beginner. So
exactly.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, that was a really good question and a wonderful answer.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Oh, I have a question about your hook. Now, your hook, yes, it's double-sided, double-ended, and you make them yourself?
So the crochet hook world of London started a long time ago. And so I started figuring out like the best design for a crochet hook back in 2015 when I got my first like really big job where I had to hire a lot of people to help me. And it was crocheting a billboard, coincidentally, but in a way different way. This was for Miller Lite beer, and it was going to be hung in Times Square in New York. And I use a really big crochet hook, but I've collected them just from my life of crocheting. So when it came to having other people crocheting for me, I was giving them these terrible hooks that they were the only ones I could find on the shelves. So I decided I need to combine all my favorite features of a large crochet hook. So I added like a pointed tip. This one actually still needs to be smoothed out, but a pointed tip. I added a twist.
I remember seeing that.
3D printed, so it's much lighter. It's hollow inside to make your work go faster. And so I got down kind of this design and was able to get a patent for it at the beginning of 2019. And I've always been super techie, like love technology, have a lot of friends in the tech world. So I worked with one of my best friends, like piecing it together in CAD or Rhino or one of those programs. So he's always kind of helped with that side of it. But I have a 3D printer over there, print my hooks, play around with different designs. I mess up all the time still. Literally thought I was getting a gold printed crochet hook, and they came out mini. I waited for months for these. So, you know, I'm learning, but the 3D printing technology like has changed and gotten so much better. Like I don't print the hooks that I sell now. I get like a professional 3D printer person to do it. Just to make sure they're perfect. But the ones I make, I love. Like
well, we have a couple other comments and questions. Janice said that she had wanted to participate in the Kamala Harris, but she just started a new job and the turnaround time was too quick. but she wants to know if you will have another project that won't need to be completed so quickly coming up.
That's a great question. I think it's probably good. I honestly, that hadn't crossed my mind about the speed of the crochet part, but I think thank you for that, because yes, that would be awesome to be able to spend a little more time and give people more time to crochet. What was the other part of the question?
Oh, she just had said that she wanted to participate in this, but she had just started a new job.
Yes. I will be doing it again, and it's so cool. First of all, I could have, with just the Kamala piece, the billboard could have been 3 times the size with the amount of people that wanted to participate. But since it's gone up, I've probably gotten over 300 more people that have signed up for the mailing list for the next billboard. So I don't know, big things to come for sure.
So, and is your mailing list on your website? Oh,
it's on loveacrosstheusa.org.
Okay.
Right. You can sign up there. There's a few fields and options for that.
Okay, Janice, go sign up for the mailing list.
I think I have Janice's email from the last one. Everybody that participated in the Kamala one automatically gets carried over to that list. So,
and
Janice was asking, where can I buy your large, colorful hooks?
So these blue ones that I just got in are going to be up on my website probably next week if you want a 3D printed one. But you can get I don't have my little pack right here now, but I should. But you can get my large crochet hooks that I partnered with Lion Brand to create. I sold those through my website, and there's 3 sizes, 20 millimeter, 11.5 millimeter, and 9 millimeter, and they're in bright neon colors. So I would go to my website. Got to plug my own site for these things.
Perfect. That's great. Okay. Judy, what else? Where are we going to talk about, Judy?
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm just really curious. London, what's your fiber story? How did you start in all of this?
Oh, well, I started crocheting when I was 13. My friend's mom taught me and my friends one afternoon, and she taught me with a really big crochet hook. I still have it. And I learned in a single crochet stitch, and I just fell in love with making scarves. I would make scarves. I made a little sample book where I would take it to school and people could pick their yarn colors. And
oh my God, that's so cute.
Yeah. And in 9th grade, so a few years after I learned, I danced and did ballet my whole life growing up and even through college. But I had to stop dancing for a year because I broke my back. Crocheting was it was the thing though that filled that void, because I loved running around and doing gymnastics and all those things. So that year crocheting, I think that's when it became even more special to me. But I didn't start yarn bombing until 2013. After I sold a computer to Oleg. I was working at the Apple store, and she came in to buy a computer. I know, it's pretty wild. So through just selling her the computer and Googling her name after she left, I found out what yarn bombing was. I'm sure I saw some of y'all's work because it was so early in the world of yarn bombing. It's there wasn't much out there at the time. And that's kind of where it started. And, had my full-time job for a while, but was able to quit and been doing this ever since.
So I have another question. What is your preferred yarn? What do you have in those bins behind you there?
Well, I mainly use all acrylic yarn. Because of yarn bombing, it's doesn't fade as easy. It's barely absorbs water, which is weird. But I love it. I love using this type of fiber, but really something I've been trying to figure out and focused on a lot for the last year or so is a way more eco-friendly way to create my yarn bombs, how I can repurpose yarn to create things, and just really trying to change how I do all that. But I have a lot of yarn, so might as well use it until it's gone.
Yeah.
But I'm running low. If you see up on the top left quadrant here,
yes,
those bins used to be full. But I have, but use what I have and then go from there.
Yeah. I've had slight misgivings about using all that acrylic yarn, but I forgive myself and proceed.
well,
that's a good way to do it.
It would be interesting to see, and I don't know whether you're in touch with the Lion brand, but if yarn companies themselves look at other ways of manufacturing the acrylic yarn. I know that there's lots of post recycled products, right. And it would be wonderful if they could figure out how to make yarn more sustainable, in that they use reclaimed resources, or I don't know.
Or if they could make the acrylic fibers out of plant material, like that eyeglass company that advertises their plastic frames are, I can't remember what kind of acetate it is, but it comes from plant fibers.
Wow.
So
yeah, I see things definitely expanding and changing in the yarn space soon. I think so. But I love 100% wool, the hand dyed, knowing the story behind the yarns that people create. Right. That's why the kit with Shella was so special to also really be a part of and just like make happen, because it is different than my usual yarns.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Cool.
Oh, did you show your book?
Oh yeah.
For people who would like to learn to crochet or look at projects, maybe they, don't know where to jump in or how to start. What have you got to help people?
I will, again, it's going to pull up on the wrong page, but I will fix that.
Okay.
So my book here is Crochet with London Kaye. And inside there are some simple patterns, which I love. This one is the alphabet pattern, so you can learn to crochet the alphabet.
Oh, yes.
It goes over, this is like how to, I know the pictures are small, my apologies, but this is how to crochet a vase for your home. So just like simple projects, also yarn bombing, how to wrap a, now not so much phone booth. Of course, how to crochet your sneakers is in there. That's probably the most popular pattern, and I love seeing everybody's shoes that they share on social media because each one is so different and fun. But part of the book that I didn't realize I would enjoy writing so much was, so the first half is all projects, and the second half is like photos of my past work and the stories behind some of these projects. And a lot of times when I'm making things, it's just like, oh, I'm going to make a whale and a mermaid and putting it up on a fence. And then when I had the time to like sit down and truly like process the thoughts of what was going on at that time and what's the reason why I was doing all these things, it's like, oh, wow, there's like stories behind each one that I didn't even fully comprehend until taking the time to write them down. So I think the book in general, it's just a great read. You can learn. And
it is.
Yeah, if you get it through my site, it will come signed. But you can also get it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and other spots too.
Oh, definitely get it on your site. So here, and I had your site up for a while. Let me put it back up just because.
Thank you. Oh, this one's on londonkaye.com, but you can get there through Love Across the USA.
Oh, okay.
Great. And I bought your book when it first came out through, I guess, Amazon, and it's not signed. So the next time I see you, I want to get your signature on my book.
Oh, you got it. I love signing books too much.
Okay.
I always have a Sharpie with me. No one ever asks.
I still have your pink heart that you gave me. So thank you.
Me too. It's on my desk.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Oh, perfect. Yes. LondonKaye.com. That's where you can get the hooks, the book, my yarn. You can get all sorts of things through there. Project bag.
I hope we can get together in person again. on a third Saturday at Darlin's studio for a YBLA meeting and just geek out about crochet and hooks and yarns and get books signed.
For sure. I remember still you taught me how to cut plastic bags into plarn, and I still use that technique.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Good.
Yep. I remember. I was there that day. That was awesome. That was fun.
That goes back to
I forgot we even did that. Yeah, but that's one of those things where I have crocheted with a lot of plastic bags, and I've shown that technique a lot, which I didn't invent. I learned it from the website.
Yeah,
the website somewhere. So it's all gosh, we love sharing our techniques and spreading them around. And
it's a little hard sometimes to feel like you're writing a book and sharing all this information that and just putting it out there. But I actually love it. I love seeing what people do with that and creating it into their own. It's a great feeling.
Well, that's one of the great things about this encyclopedia that Judy bought for the both of us. I barely thumbed through it, and I was just going, oh my God, every page. But I'm Instagram. This past year, I've really been exploring Instagram more than I ever had. And you just come across the people do amazing things.
I know. It can be quite overwhelming sometimes. How they know my interests so well. I'm like, wow, is everyone in the world crocheting, or is it just my page?
Yeah, right. Is it just my page? Yeah. Well, and then when you go to search something or search a hashtag, and that's another thing. It's like there will be things down there in that list that Instagram is now suggesting. And I have found amazing people just from that. And they should all come on this show. So anybody who might be watching, who's an amazing person, you can contact us.
How exciting, everyone.
We're accepting people to self-nominate to come and be our guests.
Love it.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to just be crochet or yarn. We're open to all kinds of art.
All kinds of art. Yeah, mixed media and printmaking, and we had a poet on.
Yes,
we had a photographer author on, and How
fabulous. I'm so glad you guys have started this, because both of you, are so knowledgeable about so many different crafts. It just seems like the perfect place to chat about them.
Well, but I think
thank you.
We also thank you, and we also love to share. So, and part of with people, there's downsides to our COVID quarantine, but the upside has been, as we talked about before the show, the Zooms, the ability to connect with people and hear other stories, see other work all across literally the world.
Yeah.
So, this platform has been amazing. So where Julie and I initially in our journeys, we would knit around LA, literally ourselves. But now that concept has expanded so that it's not just us driving to Santa Monica to sit at the mall and knit in public, which we still hope to do one day. But, it's inviting people to share what they do with everyone from literally the comfort of their own home, because everyone is there.
Yes, because we're all in the comfort of our own home. So so did we, other than the kit, did we ask you about what's on the horizon for you project-wise, London?
Well, no, you didn't. But it's odd. I'm never great at answering this question. I always feel like I'm so busy, but then I'm like, oh, what's next? Nothing. There are definitely things on the horizon. Absolutely continuing to try to work on just building out different products for crocheters. I love that side of it all, and you know, haven't spent too much time doing that. But see, terrible answer. I have no idea what I'm doing next.
Okay, well, let me prompt you.
Yeah.
This weekend, Vogue Knitting Live, because
There we go.
people might not all know that you've been attending all the virtual Vogue Knitting Lives this past many months to a year. So that's coming up.
That's literally in 40 minutes. So yes, I will be, I've been hosting the Vogue Knitting Live welcome parties each month, and also occasionally I've been teaching some classes because it's a great platform for learning crochet, knitting, and all sorts of skills in that kind of world. And they've been doing it every month. So Vogue Knitting Live, for sure fun if you want to do some virtual classes from home, or just check out a really fun welcome party. We always have like DIYs and make and model where people can share what they're wearing. And so that's a whole lot of fun. And yeah, more yarn bombing, working with different people to create beautiful things out of yarn, and more murals for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I'm giving myself 3 weeks to just, and then then the mural conversation, I can get back on the bandwagon, but yeah.
Okay.
Janice asked, is there a chance for a second book?
You know, I always thought
number 2.
No one's asked yet, but as a joke, I always say I need to write a book on how to crochet and have a boyfriend. I'd also love to do a book on like Vogue fashion looks. So how to crochet like, you know, clothes and girls and people's hair and styling and all of this.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's the more serious one.
Yeah, that would be a good pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the idea, crochet and have a boyfriend. Have you figured that out?
I mean, at times, yes, but still working on it. So once I figure that out, then the book can begin to write.
I love it.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Not that I was like crying, but you know.
No. Dating
that's
has been quite a thing.
Well, she brought it up. So
yeah.
I don't know how the hell you do it. I mean, that's crazy. You know, that's wild.
Well, yeah, it is. It even with a established how to crochet a boyfriend.
Just take it one step further. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, that's very funny, huh? His hands would have to be like this so that you could wind yarn around them.
Yeah. Or so that you can set him in a chair and he can just hold a bag of yarn. I mean, that he could be versatile.
Yes, he could.
That's a funny yarn bombing.
You guys obviously saw the Bernie memes when that was all going around.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, they were fabulous.
So funny. We need to make that meme into the boyfriend. And
yes.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Well, did you see all the little crochet Bernie dolls all over Instagram?
Yeah.
Freaking fantastic. And the fact that the girl that first crocheted it, I think she auctioned it off to a good cause for like $20,000 she raised, is so extraordinary. So
yeah. Well, I have to say about crocheters, that picture, you know, like went public within moments of the end of the inauguration, and there was a crocheted Bernie on Instagram by the end of the day.
Immediately.
Yes. So
that's what happens when people are inspired and like in the right space to do things in the moment. Like she was ready to go, and that's just so cool.
Yeah.
All she needed was that inspiration, and bam, it was there, and she did it. And they were so much fun. The dolls, the memes, everything. They were hilarious.
They're still showing up. I saw just a couple days ago a bunch of Bernie dolls. So yeah.
That's good. It makes me laugh every time. Every time.
They're really cute. They are really cute.
Okay, well, one of these months I will have to try and make it to the Vogue Knitting Live welcome party.
Yes, please do. Oh,
I don't think I'll make it by 2:30 today.
But explain though, London, like what the welcome party is can you only get it by taking a class, or how does it come about so people can get to meet you?
Yeah, so when you sign up for Vogue Knitting Live to take a class, you automatically get access to a bunch of additional free activities that you can do throughout the weekend, like meditation every morning, like different things. And one of those activities is the welcome party. If you don't sign up for classes, though, you also can purchase a marketplace ticket, because they sell yarn and all those free goodies are also available to people. And the marketplace ticket, I believe, is $3 to have access to all that. So if you just want some more fun, inexpensive content to spice up your days, that works too.
Yeah.
Wow.
What I do.
Yeah.
What I also know about the marketplace is that the vendors, they're not just sitting there to sell you yarn. Since it's gone online, the vendors have started like doing presentations and doing demos. And so that is actually additional content. It can be fun and informative. And then, of course, the vendors have their yarn that they present, or their yarn or products or whatever, also available to sell online. But it's there's a lot you can get with that $3 ticket to Vogue.
Absolutely.
One of these
days I'll come.
Good. I will remind you next month for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. When it's May. This show today is about, springing forward, spring cleaning. That's every time we have a theme. So
okay.
Oh, wonderful.
Good.
May, I'm not sure what it'll be yet, but it'll be fun.
All right. Well, this has been great. We're so glad to visit with you. It's so good to see you again. And again, looking forward to being able to get together in person or see you online, wherever we may happen to cross paths.
Yeah.
So
thank you for welcoming us all into your studio to see the space where you create and sharing all of your wonderfulness with us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yay. I'm so happy we did this. Every time we chat, I feel like I get to know you guys more and more and just better. And I love connecting with other, especially yarn bombers, but fiber artists in general. So thank you, guys. And thanks everybody for tuning in.
I would love to be part of one of your big murals at one of these days. Mm-hmm. You have a newsletter, right?
Yes. Okay. Right now it's just an email list, but it will, get sent out as a newsletter when we're doing the next mural.
Okay, I will go look for that, just like we recommended everybody else should.
Perfect.
And to the audience, thank you guys for your comments and for watching us live. And to everybody, please join us next week, same time. And we're going to have the owner of Slip Stitch Studios, they make wonderful different kinds of bags for knitting and other projects. And that's going to be next week. And for now, I guess we'll say goodbye. Subscribe, like, and hit notifications.
Yep. And have fun crocheting.
Yes. Okay. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye.